We have Helen Kelly here from the Council of Trade Unions, all the way up from Wellington. Thank you and kia ora koutou. It's fantastic to be here in Auckland and to see you fighting against this economic, social and environmental sabotage that's going on in this country with the sale of these assets. This government is fooling no one that there's some economic reason to sell these assets. The books will be worse off if they are sold, and the long-term possibilities of developing our economy will be lost with them. The impact on families in terms of power prices will be disastrous for the so-called mum and dads who are meant to be queuing up to buy these assets. We've already rescued Air New Zealand once, and now we've got it into some sort of stable position. They're going to sell it back to the very people that ran it down last time and required the state to get in there and fix it up. It's outrageous, and we should continue to fight against it. We know that foreign capital is licking its lips about these asset sales. The same people that created this crisis are now using it as a ruse to strip the last assets that the people of this country own. And that includes some of the most beautiful natural resources that power those power companies. These asset sales are just one part of the privatisation that's going on in this country. We need to keep opposing all of the privatisation of our prisons, the proposal to privatise our schools through the introduction of charter schools, the public sector jobs that are being contracted out around the country to private businesses, and the local government law that's being passed so that local government assets can be the next thing that is stripped away. The proposal to sell these assets is selling our future, and they're selling their souls. They're ripping the guts out of public infrastructure through these proposals for those that are still not satisfied with the wealth that they've got in this very, very growing unequal country. Please sign the petition. Please keep with this campaign. We can stop the sale of these assets. New Zealanders don't want it, and together we can win. Thank you very much.
John Minto from Manapati. Welcome, John.
Woo-woo!
Now, John Minto is an old-time activist. He has a lot of experience and a lot of mana.
Kia ora koutou e hoa mā. It's great to see you all here. This is the one place you have to be in Auckland on this Saturday afternoon, so let's have a big round of applause for all of us. Kia ora! You know, we've heard the government push this policy forward by calling it partial privatisation and calling it this new mixed ownership model. But really, when you strip it down, it is theft. It is theft from mums and dads throughout the country to provide extra income for mums and dads in Remuera and Parnell. There is no other name for it. This is theft. This will increase the gap between rich and poor in New Zealand. It continues what's happened over the past generation, and it means that the social problems which we've all experienced, especially people in low-income communities, get that much worse. Life gets that much harder. That's why we have to oppose this. And I think it's really important also to remember that one of the other reasons given is that they want to deepen capital markets in New Zealand. And really what that means is that the private sector has failed completely to produce any decent companies in our stock exchange. Most of the companies on our stock exchange are former state-owned enterprises. The private sector is an epic fail in New Zealand. It has failed to provide jobs. It's failed to improve the standard of living. All it's done is increased wealth for the wealthy and increased the amount of money flowing overseas through our current account deficit, which is a measure of that, the amount of money which flows overseas. If this asset sale does go ahead, Mana will insist that they are renationalised. And anybody buying into those assets now knows that if there is going to be any compensation for them, then any dividends that are paid out in the meantime will be deducted from any money those people get. Those people who want to invest in it, they need to go in with their eyes open, because it is going to be a lose for them. And that's unlike the privatisations we saw in the 1980s and 1990s with National and Labour. Those privatisations were never renationalised except when they completely fell over. So kia ora koutou, there goes the whistle. Thank you very much for listening. Kia ora, stick with the campaign.
Russell Norman and Julian Genter, who are here to represent the Green Party.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi aroha kia koutou. Thank you for being here. I want you all to know the Green Party stands with you. We are fighting this, we fought the legislation in Parliament and we're out there on the street collecting signatures so that we can have a referendum, so that all New Zealanders can have a say and tell the government they do not agree with the selling off of our state-owned assets. We all know here, and thank you so much to the campaign Aotearoa is Not For Sale, to Miriam for the fantastic job we've done coming out on the street here today. This fight is just beginning. We're more than halfway to the signatures we need to get this referendum, and we need every single one of you to go home to your whānau, to your family, to your co-workers, to your neighbours, and get them involved. Get them to sign the petition, to vote in the referendum, to tell the government we don't agree. Kia kaha, thank you so much. Here's Russell.
Kia ora Julie, and tēnā koutou katoa to everyone here. It is fantastic to be here as part of this coalition. It is a privilege to be here with all of you today who are standing up for the future of Aotearoa New Zealand. I was lucky enough to be able to spend 2 days at the Waitangi Tribunal this week listening to the case around water and asset sales. And I can tell you that iwi, hapu and Māori in New Zealand have got a right to have their case heard before the privatisation goes ahead. And the Prime Minister is completely breaching the fundamental constitution of our country when he says he will ignore and not listen to the report from the Waitangi Tribunal. And I can tell you that the groups who were at the tribunal this week will not stop. They are determined to have their case heard and they are determined to assert their rights. And that means that we have a common cause because it is their work that is providing the space for this referendum to get its time, to make sure we get the signatures together. We're halfway there, we're nearly there. This is a combined cause for everybody who stands for the future of Aotearoa New Zealand. We stand together in this. Thank you very much. Keep up the hard work.
Over to Phil Twyford from Labour. Give it up.
Bill English, Stephen Joyce, John Key, they know the price of everything and the value of nothing. You know that this privatisation of our assets is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. You've heard the arguments. Power prices are going to go up. We own this stuff already. It's ours. It's most likely going to end up in foreign hands. It doesn't make any financial sense for the government at all. The books are going to be in worse shape afterwards. And the worst thing is that we're giving away control of the very organisations that we need to deliver a secure, renewable supply of energy for our children and their children. It's not good enough. We're going to stop it. Stand up and fight back.